Hey everybody, my name's Bill Welker, host of the MMA on the Rocks podcast, your source for the most over-the-top and under-the-influence mixed martial arts analysis on the internet, available on all your favorite podcast platforms. Here on YouTube, what I like to do is share some original and classic cocktail recipes, and today I'm going to do a tequila recipe because the number one request I've been getting is tequila cocktails. Now, I'm more of a whiskey and bourbon guy, so this is a tequila recipe that's designed for whiskey lovers, kind of ease into the world of tequila. And I call it Agua Vida, which translates into life water. And this one's going to make you feel alive, and you'll see why. It's a twist on a smoked old-fashioned. So an old-fashioned, a classic whiskey cocktail, and we're going to do it with tequila, and we're going to do it in a smoked glass. Now, we're going to start off with our tequila. This is a silver tequila. It's called Tierras, which translates to earth. And I found this tequila by accident, and I'm really glad I did because it's got an awesome bottle and it's got a real smooth flavor to it. Now, like I said, I'm a whiskey guy, but I do like to sip on tequila occasionally, and I like silver tequila, so this is what I'm working with. So what I did was I took the Tierras tequila and I infused it in coffee beans. Now, it depends how you like your coffee and what your flavor palette is like. If you like a lot of cream and sugar in your coffee, you're going to want to use a light roast coffee bean. And if you like your coffee black or a dark roast, you're going to want to use a dark roast bean. I used some dark roast coffee beans, and I threw about a handful in a mason jar just because that's what I have available to me. It doesn't really matter what kind of container you use. And this is the end result. So here's the tequila originally, and this is after it's been infused with the coffee beans. So you can kind of see the difference there. It really soaks up the flavor of the coffee, a little bit of smokiness. It's really got the aroma of coffee. They're both very earthy flavors. Coffee comes from a plant, tequila comes from a plant, so they go hand in hand. Now, before we get started making the cocktail, the most important part of making cocktails, especially at a party for other people, is to make sure you have a beer close by, because you want to have a drink while you're waiting for your drink. Cheers. All right, let's get started. Now, the first step, not safe for children, so don't allow your kids to make this cocktail for you. We're going to take one of these cedar planks that you get at the supermarket that you would grill salmon on or something like that, and I just cut up a few bits of it, and we're just going to set them on fire here. Again, kids, don't try this at home. So we're just going to get it kind of nice and smoking there, and we're going to take our rocks glass once we get a little bit of a flame, and it goes out. It starts to smoke, and we're going to let the glass fill up with smoke there. Now, there are some more sophisticated ways of doing this, like buying a smoke machine. I'm not that sophisticated of a guy, so this is the way I do it. The cedar really gives a nice smoky flavor to the glass, and it's really going to complement our cocktail well. So, let's get started with the actual drink making. I'm going to take a shaker with ice, and I'm going to take my coffee-infused tequila here. Now, if you see my videos before, or you listen to the podcast, you know I'm not too big on measuring. So, throw a bunch of it in there. We're going to take some orange bitters to give it a little bit of sweetness. Again, just a couple of squirts. I'm not too big on measuring with that either. Then we're going to give it a little stir. You don't need one of these fancy stirrer things. You could use a chopstick or a butter knife or your finger. We're not going to judge you here on MMA on the Rocks. Little stir, that ought to do it, just to make sure those bitters get in there. Then we're going to cover our shaker here. We're going to take one of these big brick ice cubes, or you can take regular ice cubes, whatever you got lying around. We're going to drop that in the glass, and we're going to pour our infused tequila and orange bitters right over it. I always say to the top of the ice cube. That's a fair measurement. Then you're going to take an orange and just use a vegetable peeler to take off some of the orange rind. By modern picture film magic, I've already got a slice here. Kind of run it around the glass just to give it a little sweetness on the front end of the palate there. I know I sound a lot more sophisticated than I let on. Give it a little twist. Put it there as a garnish. That's our Agua Vida cocktail. And we're just going to finish it off with a splash of club soda or soda water, depending on where you are in the country. I know people call it different things. And that's our cocktail. Last thing to do is to taste it. So, cheers, everybody. You get a little tiny bit of sweetness up front from that orange rind and the orange bitters, and then it's super smooth and really smoky from the coffee and smoking the glass. So you get the cedar blending in with the coffee, and then this tequila is especially smooth. Obviously, you can use whatever tequila or whatever coffee you prefer. It really depends on your palate, so kind of play around with it a little bit. So this is a fun one to try some different flavor combinations with. And that's it. That's our Agua Vida cocktail. I hope everybody tries it. If you do, please send me pictures. You can find me on social media at MMA on the Rocks. And that's all I got for this episode. Thanks for watching. And please remember, even if you fight recklessly, remember to drink responsibly. Cheers, everybody. Goodbye. You could have this for breakfast. It's got coffee. You just put it in a coffee mug. Preferably an MMA on the Rocks coffee.